Hello everyone, how you all are doing? I hope you all are doing really great as always. So today, finally we're going to talk about gram staining, a very important type of staining because whenever you'll be having a bacterial culture or sample, your first task will be to know if it's a gram positive bacteria or gram negative. So let's get started. Gram staining, as you know that it differentiates bacteria into two major groups, gram positive and gram negative. And the basic difference between both the kinds of bacteria is that their cell wall composition is different. And the major advantage of gram staining is that it's a preliminary test in identification test. So as I told you in the beginning that if you have a bacterial culture and if you want to know what kind of bacteria is present in your sample, your first task will be to do gram staining in your identification test series. Okay, now look at the requirements. You need a grease-free slide, which is a oil-free slide. So you will be getting a grease-free slide by washing the slide. You need a primary stain, which is crystal violet. You need a mordant, which is gram iodine. You need a decolorizer, which is ethyl alcohol, and you need counter stain, which is safranin. Now, I've already discussed what are mordant, decolorizer or counter stain. If you haven't watched that video, I'll be putting the link for that video in the description. So make sure that you watch that video, and if you've already watched that, it's cool. Now, procedure. Procedure and principle are the two main concepts of any type of stain. You have to take a dry, grease-free slide and prepare a smear from 24-hour culture, which means that your bacterial culture is growing on the media from past 24 hours. This is to ensure the bacteria are fully grown and fully mature. Now, if they're fully mature, it also suggests that their cell wall is fully developed. Then you air dry and you heat fix your slide. Again, I've talked about what is air drying and heat fixing in that video. So I hope that you have watched that video, and if not, go and watch it. Then you add crystal violet. By the way, wait, drying is that you keep your slide in the air for some time to allow water to evaporate, and you heat fix by passing the slide over the flame. But I still recommend you to watch that video. Now you add crystal violet for 1 minute. Then you rinse your slide so that the excess stain gets drained off. You add grams iodine again for 1 minute. You rinse it again so that excess iodine gets drained off. You add decolorizer, which is 95% of alcohol or ethyl alcohol, till the crystal violet stain is removed, which is for few seconds, and you do the immediate rinsing. You add safranin for 30 seconds. You rinse so that the excess stain or the excess safranin gets drained off, and then you finally air dry by keeping the slide in the air for some time, and then you finally observe it on the oil immersion lens. Now the four basic steps of gram staining as you have already seen, but you'll be washing or you'll be rinsing your slide after every step. So first step, as we have discussed, is that to apply stain on the smear, which is you have already prepared, right? So add crystal violet for 1 minute, rinse. Then you add iodine, which is mordant, for 1 minute, rinse, so that excess stain mordant gets drained off. Then you add decolorizer, which is your ethyl alcohol, for 10 to 15 seconds, and then again you rinse it, and then you add safranin for 1 minute to get your results. Again, gram positive, gram negative, we have talked about. You fix your slide by preparing a smear, you add crystal violet, you add iodine treatment, you decolorize, and finally the result which you will be getting after following the procedure is that on a white background you will be having two differently stained bacterial cells. Those which are violet in color, as you can see here, those which are violet in color are gram positive, and those which are red in color, which are, see, those red in color are gram negative cells. But the question arises that even after following the same procedure, there's some bacteria which are violet in color and there's some bacteria which are staining pink in color. Why? See, The principle lies in the cell wall composition, which is different for both the types of bacteria. In gram-positive cell wall, you have 50 to 80% of peptidoglycan, whereas in gram-negative cell wall, you have 10 to 20% of peptidoglycan. That means you have more of lipid content. So what is happening? When you add a stain, first all cells take up the primary stain and they turn blue in color. But on adding mordant, CVI complexes are formed, which is your grams iodine, which is your mordant, react with your stain, which is your crystal violet, to form crystal violet iodine complex. Okay. Now, when you add decolorizer, which is ethyl alcohol, it has different effect on both peptidoglycan and lipid. Now, decolorizer dehydrate or shrink the peptidoglycan layer, reducing the permeability, whereas lipids get dissolved in the decolorizer, which is your ethyl alcohol, and you increase the permeability. Your decolorizer increase the permeability of lipid layer, whereas it reduces the permeability of peptidoglycan layer. Now look, in gram-positive cells, CVI complexes get trapped. Why? Because there's huge amount of peptidoglycan layer which having a reduced permeability. So your gram-positive cells appear blue in color because they are having stain in the form of CVI complexes, as those got trapped in the peptidoglycan. Now why they got trapped? Because the peptidoglycan layer got reduced in permeability because of the decolorizer that you used. Now in gram-negative cell wall, CVI complexes are lost from lipid layer because when you added decolorizer, lipid layer got increased in the permeability. So when the CVI complexes are lost, gram-negative cells become colorless, and an adding counter stain, your safranin appear. When you add counter stain, which is safranin, your gram-negative cell walls appear red. So as you can see here, I hope this slide now becomes more clear that when you heat fix, that is the same procedure for gram-positive and gram-negative. But when you add crystal violet, all the cells take crystal violet color, and having iodine treatment, CVI complexes starts get forming. And decolorizer, on adding decolorizer, CVI complexes got trapped in the peptidoglycan layer of gram-positive, which is present in huge amount. The peptidoglycan layer is present in huge amount in the gram-positive cell wall, and here lipid content is more in the gram-negative cell wall. So CVI complexes are lost, and on adding safranin, your gram-positive cells remain blue in color, whereas gram-negative cells, which are colorless, take up the stain and become red. Now here is the peptidoglycan is too less in content that it does not make any difference. So you hardly need to think about the peptidoglycan layer which is present. But here more lipid content, so CVI complexes are lost. Now, I don't want you to break your head by looking at the molecules which are written all over here. Also, I don't want you to wonder about what is actually peptidoglycan, because when we will be talking about or studying about cell wall composition of bacteria, we'll be talking about each and everything. You will be having the same slide over there. So do not look about anything and just look at the things that I'm telling you. See the thickness of peptidoglycan here and see the thickness of peptidoglycan layer here. It's too thin. It's too thin as compared to the peptidoglycan layer which is here. Because here in gram-negative cell wall, you have more of lipid content. So here CVI complexes got trapped, whereas CVI complexes got lost or come out when you rinse or when you decolorize your bacteria. I hope the idea behind the principle is now clear, but if it's not, please rewind the video, listen it once again, and then shoot your doubts in the comment section. Thank you for keeping with me so far, and this is the last slide, I promise, okay? So, significance and limitations of gram staining. Significance is first, as we know, that it's a preliminary diagnostic test. So that means you will be first identifying that if it's a gram-positive or a gram-negative bacteria. And so it also helps in taxonomy identification. You just Google any type of bacteria, okay? And the first word written over there will be it's a gram-positive bacteria or it's a gram-negative bacteria. So it helps in taxonomy identification. And finally, whenever you are staining any bacteria or anything, you have morphological characters, okay? You can see the shape, size, and arrangement. Now here the limitations are more than the significance, but it does not make gram staining any less significant if all the limitations are properly taken care of. Now see, damaged cell wall lose the primary stain. What does it mean? Look here and please put the attention for the statement that I am reading for you. Sample from 24-hour-old culture is crucial. If more than 24-hour-old culture is used, then there will be some dead cells and some cells will lose the ability to retain the color, giving rise to gram variable organism because the degrading cell wall as they approach aging. So 18 to 24-hour-old culture is generally preferred. What the statement is saying that you should take a 24-hour-old culture and you should not take a culture which is growing for more than 24-hour-old because that way your cells will start approaching to aging and they become dead. When they become dead, the cell wall will either become stiff or it will lose the ability to retain the color. So gram variable organisms will appear. So even if there is a gram negative bacteria, it will appear as gram positive. If there is a gram positive bacteria, it will appear as gram negative. So you should always take a 18 to 24-hour-old culture and not before that, not more than that. That's a main thing. And it is applicable only to bacteria and yeast. No protozoa and no parasites can be differentiated on the basis of gram staining. And it's mainly used for bacteria in fact, okay? pH of the medium can affect staining. Bacteria like spirochetes do not take up the stain because of the cell wall composition, because they have different cell wall composition. Again, cyanobacterium, diphtheria like organisms, they do not take up the pink and violet. They are gram variable. So sometimes they do not take up, sometimes they take pink color, sometimes they take violet color. That's a different case. Other bacterium like mycoplasma, it's a acid fast bacteria which retains purple color. That means it should be gram positive. No, it retains purple color even when they are not closely related to gram positive bacteria. So we have different type of staining for this kind of bacteria, which is acid fast staining. Again, you have mycobacteria and nocardia. They lack typical cell wall, so do not show any result. So what does it suggest? There are some bacteria which can be taken as exceptions, but there's so many bacteria out there for which we use gram staining. Now, I really hope that everything is clear, and if you still have any doubts, please show them in the comment section. And if you do not have any doubts, make sure that you like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. On that note, bye bye and take care, folks.